Alright, so a perfect example why I made this shelf. I couldn't find my chorus pedal. Well, look at where we found it. Hi, Leo. What do you got in there? Hey, there it is. So as you see, my kids love to play with my guitar pedals. They usually end up all over the floor. I've found some in the backyard before. I guess that's why they call them stomp boxes, because my kids sure love to stomp on them. Alright, so today I'm building a simple shelf to hold all my pedals in. It's a piece of cake to build, and it's gonna look great. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so this is really simple. It's 3 pieces of wood, and what I'm gonna do is I've grabbed the biggest pedal, happens to be my overdrive pedal here. I want the shelf to be kind of high up, so I'm gonna have a ledge in the bottom. I'm gonna put a piece of wood like that, and they're just gonna sit like that. They're just gonna be displayed like that, so I can see each pedal clearly, and this is gonna be a piece of cake. So
plus add a little bit of color to your room, like that, right?
And plus, my wife said they're gonna add a little bit of color to my room, which is so important, okay? This is my MXR distortion pedal. I bought that in probably 1980. That's an original MXR. I bought that because everyone was using it. Randy Rhoads used that. That was all he used. And I still have it. Super cool.
Survived your wife minimalism.
It survived my wife's minimalism kit care. Okay? So far so good. It's got a couple missing screws. I want that to be displayed really nicely, so alright. So let's get to it. First off, I got 3 pieces of wood. This is very simple. Go down to Lowe's, Home Depot, something like that. Pick yourself up a 2.5 inch piece of pine. This is 2.5 by 6 foot long. This is 3.5 by 6 foot. And I just got this 1/4 inch by 1 inch strip here. They didn't have 6 foot, so I'm going to cut that down. And make sure you have a Lightning McQueen car that can be tested on the lid to make sure it rolls okay, right, Leo?
Yeah.
Alright, I laid out all my pedals on the floor, measured it. It was roughly 6 foot, so I want to get some nice edges. So first off, alright, so I'm not trying to take off any length. I want to keep it as much wood as I can, so I'm just going to clean up that edge there. And then I'm going to clean up the other edge too. I'm going to clean up this edge too.
Leo said, be quiet, Ariana's sleeping.
That staple's going.
Ariana's sleeping.
Alright.
Stay away. We got goggles, guys.
Alright. Now I got the 2.5 inch piece. I'm going to go ahead and clean that edge off. Very simply make me a mark right there. And that's where I need to cut it. Alright, so now it's very simple. I'm going to screw this onto the back of it. You can nail it, screw it, whatever you want. You want to find your best edge. Pick a nice looking edge. I kind of got that thing happening in there. That's okay. I'm going to cover it up. Now you want to drill a hole. If you start just screws through there, it's going to crack the wood. You don't want to do that. Yeah, you want to pre-drill the holes. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to go ahead. Now, I know this is that thick. I can pretty much just eyeball it.
Go in there. Warm up. On.
So now get yourself a clamp. Just lightly tighten it at first. And you can kind of move it around, knock it in place where you need it. Get nice and I'll clean up those edges later, okay? That's looking good. I'm using 1.25" drywall screws. If you got other screws, that's just fine. These will work great, so. Looks good. Now just move on down the line here. Now if you noticed, you need the drill on this piece of wood. Going through the side of that wood, it's not gonna crack, so I don't need to worry about that. Plus you want it to be nice and tight, so I prefer not to drill that piece. Move on down the line here. Screw that in there. Okay, so now we have the basic shelf part, and we need to put this strip on the front. I'm just gonna hold that flush right there so I can make a mark. Alright, so I got my strip cut to size.
All kinds of projects going on here. All kinds of projects.
On this front piece, I'm not going to use screws. I'm going to use these little tiny nails. Alright, so I'm going to drill some holes in here so the wood doesn't split. I'm going to put some glue on this edge here just to keep this nice and secure. Now, every time you put glue on, the best thing is to use your finger, flatten it out, or else you're going to get glue popping out everywhere and it just isn't so cool. Okay, so now I'm ready to nail this on there. You guys learning, guys? So what's cool about this is, when I was a kid, my dad taught me how to do all this stuff. So it's fun for me to be teaching my kids how to use a hammer and build stuff.
My wife, she will knocking down.
Yeah. Alright, so it's super easy. I think this took about 10 minutes. It's a little bit rough looking, so I'm just going to clean it up a little bit with my sander. Okay, so the only other thing I want to do is set these nails. It just looks a little bit better when you just get a nail set and just tap them in a tiny bit. Alright, so in 15 minutes, you got a nice shelf ready to go. I'm going to go hang the shelf now, and we'll check it out. Alright, so here's the shelf. I think it came out pretty cool. It took about 15 minutes. It's a good, simple way to store your guitar pedals. In my case, out of the yard, out of the neighbor's yard. Who knows where they might end up. So, alright, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you in the next video.